Hey everyone, and welcome back to my first season. I hope you are enjoying the new year. My guest today and I have never worked together before, but we have about 55 mutual friends in our Club Med family. His first season was in Club Med St. Lucia during the winter of 1989 as a bar GO. He worked for Club Med from 89 to 1995 in villages such as Huatuco, Copper Mountain, Eleuthera, Playa Blanca, Turks and Caicos, and the Miami office as regional manager for the bar for the American zone. Some fun facts about my guest. He met the future King of England in St. Lucia, who happened to be there for the island's 10th anniversary of independence. Also, he has owned Hemingway's, a restaurant right down the beach from Club Med Turks and Caicos, for the last 25 years. Originally from Seattle, but now splits his time between Florida, Turks, and the Dominican Republic. Please help me welcome to my first season, Mr. Terry Drummey. Hey, Terry, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much, Greg.
Oh, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
Happy to be here.
All right. So I think you know the basic format of this show, correct? I've had on a few of your friends, right?
That is correct, and I've already talked to them the last couple of days trying to prep me. So
okay,
hope I'm ready.
Yeah. So I understand you grew up in a suburb of Seattle called Kirkland. So if you can take me back to a time before Club Med as to what you were doing, were you working, going to school, and how did you first hear about Club Med?
I was working in a restaurant, putting my way through Washington State University, and there was a gentleman named Anthony Parisi who used to come into the bar. And one day he said to me, "You would be perfect for Club Med." I'm like, "What is that?" And so he explained everything to me. Next day, I went down, sent my resume to New York City, and about a month and a half later, they came to Seattle and interviewed me.
They came to you?
Yeah, they came to downtown, not just me, but there was a hotel down, and the chef de village was the one that actually interviewed me.
Oh, really? Okay. This Anthony Parisi, was he an ex-GO or current GO?
He used to be, no, he is, but he used to be a GM, and he said it was great. And so when I got my first village, St. Lucia, he took a month off and came down there on vacation and stayed as an au pair. And then the next year, I got Huatuco. He sent his resume in and asked for Huatuco, and we became roommates.
Okay. Was it common for like a chief of village in 89 to do an interview? Because I assume Ye was still working as a chief of village, right?
I didn't know who he was at the time. All I remember is he asked me, did I know the difference between a pina colada and a chichi? And I thought, this is the easiest interview. Okay, cool. I nailed this one.
Okay.
And then later on, I did meet him.
So they didn't make you do any like talent portion of that interview? There was just really, he quizzed you on some drinks and that was it?
That was it.
Okay. Did he ask if you spoke French or anything?
We were in Seattle and I didn't speak French. So that didn't, you know what? He probably did. I can't remember. It was so long ago.
Okay. Because I noticed your first season is St. Lucia, which, I guess you had some French guests there, right?
Oh, yeah. And, working in the bar, all the maintenance and cuisine, they all spoke French.
Did this Anthony, while he was having fun as a GM, like when he told you about Club Med, did he tell you about the long hours and the 7 days a week? Or did you find that out when you got there?
Yeah, he told me, but that didn't scare me because I put my way through university. I worked when I was in college, so I was ready for that.
Okay, great. And you'd never been to Club Med on vacation, right?
Never.
Okay. So if it wasn't for Anthony, you probably wouldn't have heard it. Maybe a bit later, you might have saw an ad, right? But you heard about.
I would have never have gone. And in fact, I got married about 6 years ago, and Anthony came to the wedding. And during one of my speeches, I did mention that my life was where it was, and specifically was because of Anthony.
Okay. They sent you to St. Lucia in 89, and your chief of village was Rod Frankel. Is that correct?
Well, Christian Maillet in the beginning.
Okay.
And then he left, I think, about 6 weeks before the end of the season. And I believe he went to Cancun, but I'm not sure. And Rod Frankel came in from the New York office, and he took over.
What do you remember about like arriving or getting ready? Like, was it since you're from the West Coast, it must have been a hell trip, because even when we leave from Montreal, it's quite a long ordeal to get to St. Lucia. So do you remember your like itinerary? Do you remember how long it took you to get there?
It was 3 flights, and I remember it was the first time I was moving away. And so this is honest truth. I had $1,000 in my shoe.
Oh, really?
$1,000. in my pants and then $1,000 in my suitcase. Just
Wait,
something
hold
went
up.
wrong.
Wait, hold up. You went to a Club Med with $3,000?
My first season, I didn't know, that
Okay. No,
you didn't need money or anything.
no, but that's interesting because most geos arrive with nothing and then they leave with nothing, right? Because they wind up spending it all on bar tickets and cigarettes. So no, I think you're the first person on that's arrived with money and that much money. Okay.
And the funny thing about that was Linda Taylor Ferguson, now, who we're still good friends, she worked in the bank. And when I was checking out, I forgot all about it. And when I
Are
was
you?
leaving, she's like, wait, you have money in the bank.
Oh
I'm
my
like, what?
God. Are you serious?
That's how much fun I had.
Okay.
And she's like, remember you brought, I'm like, oh gosh, I forgot. So I
Oh
actually
my.
went back home my first season with money.
Okay. Yeah, which puts you in a different category.
Correct.
So safe to say you were never on the blacklist, right? Okay.
Well, I was a bartender.
That's right.
That was the key.
Now, were you greeted by like? Did you arrive? Was it like late at night when you arrived, or?
It was pitch dark and we landed in Beaufort.
Yeah.
And there was one person at the airport waiting for me. And luckily, it's only like a 2-minute drive. And they said, here you go. And they walked me to my room. The village wasn't open yet. And so they said, the kitchen's already closed. You got to wait for breakfast tomorrow morning. And then that's
Okay.
when it started.
Yeah, and then you see the village in a whole new light. Correct.
Oh, it was a little eerie because it was closed. So nobody was around. Everybody was just cleaning. I got to the bar and I went in the back and opened up like 10 cases of glasses and washed them.
With that,
That was my first job.
did someone tell you to do that, or you just started
Oh,
doing
yeah.
it? Okay. All right. So okay. So did you do a full 6 months there?
Yes.
Okay. What do you remember from that? Like got any funny, interesting stories from your first season? Did you make any rookie mistakes? Anything? What do you got?
Now, when I look back, I was scared of the chef de village. I didn't want to do anything wrong. I just followed orders, tried to work as hard as I could. We had a ton of fun. The people that we worked with were just amazing. And I'm still friends with a lot of them. We're just like Lawrence Tillier, Mike Patterson, Kevin Batt, and what a great guy he was. Big Lee Siegel and his wife, Lisa. God, we had fun.
Kevin Batt was there doing what?
Kevin Batt was land sports.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And to say he had energy, that guy never stopped. It
Oh,
was
wow.
just unbelievable.
And do you recall who the chief of sport was there?
No, I did not. It was a French guy that, and for the life of me, I wouldn't be able to remember his name. I'm sorry.
Okay, it wasn't Hansel Moss. I know Hansel
No,
did.
I know Hansel very well, but
okay,
it was not.
all right. Okay, so I guess you had a pretty, then I would say normal first season, right? Nothing.
I thought it was spectacular. The one good thing about working in the bar is we would do 1 week days and then 1 week nights. So when it was switching over, you kind of almost had a full day off. That makes sense.
Oh yeah. I
It'd
do.
be like I worked the day shift and then the next day I wouldn't have to work till the night. So you'd go party, or we would get up and we would go cruise around the island. So we actually saw a lot of St. Lucia for us working in the bar.
Okay, great. Now, as a bar geo, do guests actually, is it like in the movies where they tell you their problems and you're kind of like a therapist? Does this really happen?
You know what? You do hear a lot of people's stories, but when people are on vacation, they want to be happy. Or at least that's where we try to steer them. And so, you definitely heard some people whining. There was one guy, the life of me, gosh, I can't remember. And it was in St. Lucia. And he came a couple times and he'd be sipping tequila early in the morning, telling us his problems.
Oh, really?
And we would just say, come on, buddy, let's forget that. You're not there. Let's go for it. So
yeah,
try to turn him around.
Let's switch to scotch. No,
yeah,
just kidding. Okay. Yeah, tequila that early. Yikes. So was it a singles or family resort back then?
It was singles.
Oh, wow. Okay. When it was family.
The next year or a year later, they switched to family.
Okay.
And it was, if I remember correctly, one of the singles villages in Mexico got hit by a hurricane. So we were full almost every week.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I
So
think that
it was a lot of work.
that village held about 600, if I recall.
Correct.
Okay. Now, were there wild horses? Because there were some wild horses when I was there. So did you see any like running across that little golf course or the,
Oh,
any?
sure. And
Okay.
then the cows.
Yeah. Yeah. But for me, it was when I heard there were wild horses, I couldn't wait to see them because I've never seen wild horses. So that was a big thing for me and it wasn't until a few weeks that I finally saw them because, I'm so used to seeing them in a pen, right? Or a stable, or seeing the idea of wild horses was very like, Western to me. So I remember that vividly, seeing him.
Oh, that's great. Did you ever do a season there?
Yeah. Like in 95, I was there.
Okay. Did you go
Yeah.
down to the end of the runway on the weekends when the big planes were
No,
coming down?
no. Oh, was that where you would hang on to the fence and then
Well,
was it one of those?
similar to that, but it wasn't near as hard as that. But we would go
Okay.
down there and get on top of the econom truck with some beers, and
Uh-huh.
the plane would come by and fly over you. And then when the engines got in front of you, it just shake you, but it felt
Okay.
like you're ET or something. It was really cool.
Nope, never didn't know people were doing that. Okay. Now, do you do like a dream sheet at the end of this season? Like, do you tell them where you want to go, or did you have every intention of
I
continuing?
believe they actually, my chef de bar had gone earlier and called me in Cancun and said, "You want to come there?" And I was ready to meet different people, and a lot of the geos that were in St. Lucia went there, including Kevin Batt. And so I went back home and relaxed a couple weeks, and then they called me and said, "How does Hualtuco sound?" Fantastic.
So you go there the summer of '89.
With Bob Fagan as
Bob
the
Fagan, chief, and was Watuco also a singles village then, or was already family?
single slash family.
Really? Okay.
It held like 1,500 people, and on the weekends, it wasn't geared. Oh, I think they did have kids club during certain times, but again, I was in the bar, so I didn't focus on any of that.
Okay. That was your first time in Mexico?
I was in Tijuana a couple
Oh,
years earlier.
okay. I won't ask you what you did there. Okay, we'll move on from that one. Okay. Okay. Anywho. All right. So what is Watuco like? Did you like it more than St. Lucia or about the same?
You know what? They were different, but I loved them both. I could speak a little Spanish back then. My Spanish is way better now, but the people were just so wonderful. The resort was massive and unbelievably pretty. And Anthony and I had the top room, and I think it was Montañas. I can't remember, but
Hold on.
it was a long hike. It was a long hike from the nightclub where I was the night bartender.
You said
But
Anthony. Did Anthony Paris follow you again to Watuco?
he,
What's going on
correct.
here?
Then he
Okay.
became a windsurf instructor, and he was my roommate.
Oh, really? Okay. Wow. And
Yeah.
but when you were working in that restaurant, he just walked in? You didn't, I mean, sorry, that bar, you didn't know him, right?
No,
Oh, this is pretty cool. Okay.
but I worked there for 3 summers while I was going to university, so
Okay.
you got to know him.
Yeah, which is, speaking of university, your degree is in commercial tourism business management, right? From Washington State.
Correct. Yes.
So you're kind of destined then to go into hospitality and tourism, right? I mean, like
You know,
what did you think like after you got your degree? Like what were you thinking? Okay, I'll apply here, there. Did you have a plan yet, or you just were there to get the degree?
just to get a degree, and then I thought, okay, I'll get sales or do something. And then I kind of in the back of my head, my grandpa lived in Hawaii when we were young. I thought, maybe I'll try there. I want to go somewhere where it was sunny.
Okay, sure. Because I guess where you're from, there's a lot of rain.
Tons.
Well, we're used to, yeah, in Seattle. All right.
Yes.
Now Bob Fagan, who's the chief there, is he from England? Where was he from?
He's from California. He's American.
Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, cool. All right.
He was amazing.
You got along well with him?
Yeah, I was still, I'm just a bartender. So I thought, but, just how he ran the operation, I was very impressed.
Okay. Now, for some reason, though, because you say you just spoke about Hawaii and you wanted to be in the sun, but for some strange reason, you decide, you know what? Screw the sun. I'm going to Copper Mountain, which is where you go after Watuco for some reason. But I guess because I see you became a chief of bar after only 2 seasons, right?
Correct.
So were you fast tracked? Because that seems pretty quick, no?
Well, there I'm going to go back to Hualtuco. for 1 second. I was there, and somebody from the office gave me an envelope, and I opened it up, and it was all in French. So I ran into the boutique and I asked the girl to read it, and she says, "Oh my gosh, you're getting invited to the 45th anniversary in Opio. This is my second season." I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? So that's when I kind of thought in my head, somebody's looking at me, or somebody has a plan for me in Club Med. So that's when I started thinking this could be a long-term goal for me, or a job for me.
Wait a minute, hold up. Wouldn't it have been the 40th? Because when I was in Australia in 2000, that was the 50th.
Nope, you're correct.
Yeah, so the 40th. Yeah, okay. We caught this one, folks. So I'm not going to get any letters or emails from you guys. We caught it. Okay, so it was the 40th. All right.
The years are catching up to me.
Now, someone would have had to nominate you for that, correct? So was that your chief, Bob Fagan, that did that?
I have no idea.
Oh,
Don't
really?
know.
Okay.
But this story doesn't have a happy ending. So back then, Americans had to have a visa to get to France. And my passport got sent to the office in Mexico, I don't know, a month before. And I left the village, said goodbye to everybody, and went to Mexico City and got to the office and realized that they didn't have the visa for me.
Oh, no. So you never got there?
I stayed in Mexico City for a day and a half, finally got the visa, flew up to New York City just in time to see the plane fly off.
Oh, no.
So never made it.
What the heck did you do in New York City?
I ordered a Domino's pizza for the first time in months.
Okay.
And sat in a hotel and waited to try to see if I was going to be able to leave.
And you never got there, right?
Never got there. So I went and bought a ticket and went back to Seattle.
Okay. So before you go to Copper as chief of bar, now did Bob Fagan, or did you say, you know what, I want to be chief of bar? Like, how does that work?
I never did.
They just said you were going to be. You're going to be. Okay. But somebody must have saw something in you is what I guess I'm getting at, is that because
correct. That's the feel.
Yeah.
When I got that invitation to Opio, that was in the back of my head saying, you know what, maybe somebody's watching me. Maybe it was what Rod Frankel saw because he was in charge of human resources in New York. So,
well, other GOs, like I said, your name has come up an awful lot on this podcast. So another GOs always mention that same thing about you. So I'm guessing your work ethic was slightly above par, because I know it doesn't come that fast. I mean,
I did work hard.
Yeah.
I gave it my all.
Yeah. So if a GOs are noticing, then supposedly the chief of service or chief of village are noticing too. And I guess because you were chief of bar, you decided, well, it's at Copper. I'm going to see snow, no way around it. And you go there. Did you know how to ski before?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. Were you spending it all? So were there any like hurdles to overcome as a chief of bar?
You know, you're learning the ropes and you want to be cool to the GOs, but you also, you want to make sure, because you're responsible for the budgets and things, you want to hold your own. But it came kind of easy to me.
Now, in winter 1990, were they still using tickets or bar beads, or what was the deal there? Tickets. Okay.
Copper was tickets.
And you had to count all these at the end of the night? Is that the thing?
Yeah, we did it together. But you just ripped them so you can't reuse them, or at least you try.
And you guys used to put them on a wooden thing with nails, right? At the bar. Yes. When people would come in. Okay. Yeah, please stop me if there's any story you want to tell me, interesting or somewhere, some story you got hurt. Please stop me and tell me, okay? Because
well, that Copper, I did ski for about 6 weeks because we went on the backside. And the photographer went up there and took pictures of us. So we went off this huge cliff, and I still have the picture somewhere. I think it's in my office in Turks. And I have a wonderful picture, but when I landed hard and went all the way down the bottom, and had to do therapy for a good month on my back.
Oh boy. Okay.
So being in Copper, not being able to ski, that was not fun.
Okay. Speaking of not fun, I think it was Lee who told me this story. Did you encounter a scorpion bowl at Copper Mountain? Because I had no idea what a scorpion bowl was. So I guess while you're laid up, did you go through any of those? Or
Scorpion bowl?
Yeah, he says it's a drink. Okay, never mind.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
never heard that term before. Okay, but hold on a sec, Lee. You forgot an interesting story that I mentioned in your intro because I watched The Crown, so I'm kind of curious. Like when you met Prince Charles in Saint Lucia, who was there for into the 10th anniversary of independence, were you near the club? I mean, how does this happen that
It was
you?
only a couple miles away,
Okay,
and I thought it was weird because they were painting the trunks of the trees white. That first caught my eye, and then some of the workers said, "Hey, Prince Charles is supposed to show up with Lady Di." So a number of us said, "Hey, what the heck? Let's go to the airport and see
and I'm
Charles."
gonna guess because I was in love with her too that you weren't really going for Prince Charles. You were going to try and catch a glimpse of Princess Diana, correct?
100%.
Okay. Did you see her?
So they got off the plane, and it was only Prince Charles. So we are like, "Well, we're here. Let's go down and see what's happening." And some people gave some speeches, but everybody was extremely cordial. So it was easy for us just to walk up front and stand there. Then there was a rope. So when they started walking around to see all the different events that were going on, I thought he would just walk right by me. And he turned around, stuck his hand out, and he says, "I'm Charles. What's your name?"
Oh,
"I'm
really?
Terry." "Yeah." And then, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Seattle, Washington." "So I was there once. I liked it." "So what are you doing here?" I said, "I work at Club Med as a bartender." He goes, "Oh, I heard that's a great place." He said, "Come walk with me and, let me know what you think." So we walked around for a couple minutes. He asked me some questions about the island and kind of there. And then he said, "Okay, great to meet you."
Wow. So you shook the future King of England's hand.
Yes. And
Wow.
2 points is everybody knows I'm not a tall guy. I was shocked at how short he was, number one. And number two, he was wearing a light green suit that, I don't know. I thought he could have picked a better color.
Okay.
Trying to be polite. You
Yeah.
told me to be polite. I was trying to be polite,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it caught us all off guard, saying that suit's a little
Did
weird.
they ever?
But
Did you ever figure out why they're painting the palm trees white? Was this the thing when royals come for a visit?
I think that's just to make it look clean.
Okay, got it. Okay, well that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah,
All right, let's get back to Copper. Your chief of village was Christian Albert.
correct.
Okay, was he French or Swiss?
French.
Okay, French.
Yes.
All
Very
right.
easy going, just easy to deal with. A very, very easy season.
All right. So you do your season there. Now I see you go off to do a season with one of my favorite chief of villages of all time, Denis Salem,
Oh, great.
in Eleuthera, summer 1990. I assume Chris Wheel is there too with you. I'm
Chris
guessing.
Wheels there,
Okay.
Angie Boucher,
Oh,
Sabrina Fest, Richard Rabinoff, a good buddy of ours that's passed away, Jim Henry,
that's right, Jim Henry.
a
Yes.
real good buddy of mine, Mike Page, Traffic. There was tons of people. Chance Isaac was a bartender for me who was a GE in Copper Mountain. So that was cool to see for him.
Mike Page was traffic.
Yes.
I've seen his photo and name, but that's the last job I thought he'd ever have in Club Med. I was picturing he was on the sports team or something. Okay, traffic.
Traffic.
All right.
He's a
So
good buddy. He comes to Turks and stays with us quite a bit.
yeah, I think I've seen or met him at I did 2 reunions at Cancun in 2008, 2010. I believe he was there. Okay, traffic. Wow, never would have guessed that. Okay. So Luthra, which I hear is beautiful, one of the most beautiful beaches of all time, correct? Pink
Beautiful.
sand
The
beaches.
pink sand. Unbelievable.
How'd you get along with Denis?
Fantastic. He asked me to go to Punta Cana with him the next season, and it just killed me. But again, I wanted to see something different, and he was taking a lot of the same team. And I thought, do I want to do another family village? And I loved them all, but he was really, really nice. And in fact, we're friends on now social media. You get messages and things like that. And he wrote to me a really, really nice message about how hard I work and how much he liked me. I got a lot of time for Denny.
Yeah, I asked this of I think it was Chris because he's the only chief that I've ever worked with and met that was so like concerned and always working like how to get money like in the village. Like if the village wasn't full, he wouldn't just sit back and wait for charters to come in. He'd go locally. Did you see any glimpse of that? Because I was with him in Martinique in '97, so I know you were there in 1990. it could have been he developed this over 7 years. So I was just curious if you
Oh
noticed it.
yes, he was constantly and not harping on it, but he was like, God, Terry, do you think we could set up a table in front of the restaurant? Do you think you could sell some drinks there? Why don't you try this? He was very into the business side, and that made me happy because that was the side that I was looking at in Club Med as well.
I guess was your chief of bar. I guess you have to submit your tallies every month, and is there someone, I guess, at corporate that's looking at how you're
Oh
doing in
yeah,
sales? Okay.
sure.
Do they let
Not
you
only
know?
the guest satisfaction, but it's also your profits and inventory.
Okay. Did you have a favorite drink to make?
Yeah, not really, to be honest with
No.
you.
Okay. Did you ever serve up hairy gorillas there?
No.
No. Okay. No one
You
ever
know,
asked for that. Okay.
Lee would have, he was more into making fancy drinks and let's try this, let's try that. I
Okay.
was more the consistent, let's make it the same, everybody. Let's get it out there fast and make sure you charge people.
Did you drink beer?
Lots of it.
Was there a favorite like local beer? Because so far you've worked in St. Lucia, Watuco, Copper, Luther. So do you recall, is there a favorite like local beer you wish you could drink again? Like they don't make anymore, or you have to go to?
What was it called? Well, you can get Click, but now I'm getting older. I drink Coors Light just so
Oh,
my
you can't, you
delicates
can't, you
grow.
can't get it here, my friend. Not in Canada, but yeah, I do miss.
Oh, we can get Click here in the States.
Oh, unfair. Okay.
Uh,
We just got Modelo, which is one of my favorite Mexican
oh,
beers of
it's
all
great.
time, like only like 5 years ago, but it took that long for Modelo to get up here.
Oh boy,
Okay.
Modelo's in Florida. It's all over the place.
Yeah, I like it. I like it in the bottle or the can. I just love that beer. Okay. Shout out Modelo. Okay.
Draft is even better.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I hear. Yeah. So you said, from Eleuthera, sadly you did not want to go to Punta with Denis, and you didn't want to do the family village, but boy, oh boy, did you do a singles village or what? Because they throw you in Playa Blanca, winter 1991 with Lafise. That
Correct.
must have been a good season, huh?
Oh man, it was just fantastic. That village is something special. It's just the way it's built.
Yes,
Everybody, and you can't go anywhere.
that's right.
So everybody stays there. You meet all the GMs every week. It is really something special.
It's the best positioned bar. The bar is right in the center. The bar is round. Like I remember happy hour Playa when I was there was just it was the event of the day. They'd ring cowbells to get everyone from the pool and all the other wall climbing area, and everyone would go at 5. I've never ever seen that in any other village that I worked at 10 years, where a happy hour at 5 was the event of the day.
Oh yeah, it was something special. We had a great team. Big Lee was with me bartending there. Yannick Henry, who was the European bartender, and we became good friends. He is the chef at the restaurant next to mine in Turks.
Oh,
So,
really?
and he married Rosa. So I see him every single day.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
What's his place called next to you?
Bay Bistro. He's the
Oh,
chef.
okay. Oh, wow. What are the odds? Jeez.
Yeah. Well, he used to have a place in the Dominican Republic, and we used to fly over there and hang out with him. And when the economy there went a little sour, it's like, hey, do you think you could get me a job over in Turks and Caicos? And my buddy that I was with says, I have the restaurant. We're looking for a chef. So it happened very quickly, and it's been over 10 years now.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, Playa, I guess you guys partied hard, but you worked hard too, right? It's that type of village.
Oh, yeah. Just fantastic. Loved every minute of it.
You find there's anything cool or special about opening and closing a village, like from start to end?
Well,
Like,
I actually showed up there a little late, and they took me off a couple weeks early.
oh, really?
But I did, when I became regional chief of bar, I did every closing, every opening. So
Okay.
they're a lot of work.
You got any stories from Playa?
Playa, let's see.
I mean, appropriate. I know I'm hamstringing you here, Terry, with my rules. No. But okay.
My favorite one is around the corner. There was a hotel, but it didn't seem like it was a hotel because there was only like maybe 5 or 6 people in there at a time. And I used to jog over there in the afternoons, put enough pesos in my pocket to drink a couple beers, and then jog back. Well, one time I was down there on the beach and I got in and I was cruising in and I hear this guy say, "Hey, do you speak English?" And I turn around and it's Billy Joel, the singer.
What?
Billy Joel, the singer. And remember, this is 1990. Well, standing up right next to him is Christy Brinkley.
Oh, no.
So for me, that's like Sports Illustrated right in front of me. So I can't believe this.
Yeah.
Went over there. She was a little distant, didn't want to talk much, but he was just nothing but cordial and wanted to know what I was doing there, what's going on.
Oh, really? Like, so he didn't need assistance. He was just wanted to talk to you.
Correct. You say, "Hey, what are you doing here?" They were the only ones on the beach. I'm telling you, this place is deserted. I find out he was doing a concert in Mexico City the next night. So I offered, I said, "Hey, come to Club Med. I'll call the chef de village. He'll let you in." He was like, "Well, that sounds good." And Christy was like, "No, no, no, thank you." And so I left. And then when I went to the bar, they told me that that was the beginning of his trying to sober up, so to speak. And they were having little squabbles. So
okay, so I guess she was still pretty much an uptown girl then.
Correct.
Which, yeah.
Yeah.
Wrote for her name.
As the song says.
Yeah. Living in an uptown world. All right. Well, hey, at least you got to see her, right? I mean,
oh boy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, very.
That's the only thing I like about the movie Vacation, really, is her in that red Ferrari, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
So it's interesting. You have your restaurant Hemingway's in Turks. You only really go to Turks your sixth season, which before the Miami regional office is your last season. You get there in summer '91. Your chief of village is Rolf Falk. Is that correct?
Correct.
Where's he from?
Germany.
Okay. I don't think I ever worked with a German chief of village before. Do you have a good sense of humor?
I wouldn't say that. You follow the rules and he stays out of your way.
Yeah, that's the joke I used to make about with German GMs, not behind their back, with them, that they follow all the rules if they show up with the best equipment, But I at one point I thought I wasn't funny anymore because they would never laugh at my jokes. So I guess even on vacation they're very serious.
Oh yeah.
Now, since you were in Turquoise, you have a JoJo story?
I will say, in my restaurant, there's a bell on our deck out there, and it says "Ring if you see JoJo."
Oh, really? Okay.
And JoJo is still alive, so they say.
It's crazy. No, yeah. Right. I keep hearing
a lot of cuts.
The odd sighting.
I saw JoJo a few years back, and a lot of cuts from the propellers, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. He's still curious.
Very curious.
So you go from Playa to Turks. That's like going from the frying pan to the fryer. So what's that like?
It's like getting hit with a 2x4.
Yeah. Shot out of a cannon with no net, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So you must have liked
Turks. The GMs were quite different and demanding.
New York charters?
Sorry?
New York charters?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to describe this. It was just completely different. Very, very busy. And but I remember doing that season and saying, okay, maybe it's time to go back to a family village for a little bit. And
for a rest.
But it was great. Hansel Moss was there, Angie was there.
Oh, really? Wow.
So
must have been some team.
Yep. So it was a high and a low. I don't know how to describe it. But then when the chef de village came to me and said, my next season's in Brazil and I want you to go with me, I thought, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. And I couldn't believe it for about a week. And then he calls me back into the office and he says, sorry, the corporate office has changed. You can't go with me. And I said, oh God, where are they sending me? He says, you're leaving in 3 days and you're going to the corporate office.
Okay. So you didn't ask for this again. Okay. Somebody promoted you, right?
Right. Well, Patrick, and I can't remember his last name, Watley, I believe, was the regional chief of bar. And he was just a wonderful man. He had had a heart attack about 6 to 8 months earlier and had passed away. So they didn't ask anybody. All I did, I remember, and I think this is when I was in Playa, And remember, we don't have computers or anything. I hand wrote a letter to the corporate office and just said, if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. So maybe that made a difference.
Okay, I see. What may seem like a lot of fun because I mean, sure, it was probably a dream come true. You got to fly to a different Club Med every week, check on the bars, but there was probably, like, as you say, more work than it sounds like, right? Because you
A
were
ton
at
of work.
opening, closings,
All
hurricane,
the openings, the
messes,
hurricanes. You know
corporate
what
buyouts.
now, when they have a hurricane coming to Florida or coming to Turks, I say, see you later. I'm one of the first ones that gets on a plane. I've just seen too much of the bad stuff.
Yes, exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's not just when it hits, it's after the fact. No food,
Yes.
no power. The mosquitoes can pick you up and take you away.
And the cleanup, if you're one of those geo teams
Correct.
that
The
has to clean
cleanup,
up after the hurricane.
crime.
Yeah.
It's just ongoing. So I'm too old these days. I fly out. If one's coming towards Florida, I fly my family out and say, we'll pick up the pieces when we come back.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, I totally understand that. I went through 5 or 6 and yeah, I'm forever changed now.
Yeah.
Especially when I hear GOs, I get jealous. Oh, they flew us out. We didn't have to do anything. I'm like, what? I never got to fly anywhere else.
Exactly.
So your boss is at, I guess, Miami, where Jean-Pierre Camembert and Hans Vertel. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I also worked with Robert Tillier and Nico Sturgio, Jeff Beanens, who was in charge of all the sports.
Yeah, Jeff Beanens. Yeah. And Nikos, I remember he was like in charge of the restaurants. Was that right?
That is correct.
Yeah, I remember him a lot. Yeah.
Now, Jean-Pierre and Nikos both are not with us anymore, but we just
peace.
had a wonderful team.
Are you saying that you said Robert Tillier. Are you saying there was a head regional pastry guy? Is that what you were saying?
Bakery and pastry.
You're kidding. Okay, I didn't know
No.
that. Okay.
Those chocolate croissants.
And yeah, the white chocolate bread would be him, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
He was extremely talented and extremely hardworking.
And was Hans's wife Sonia? Did she work for Club Med too?
Yep, she worked in the office, and we're still good friends today. They have a couple restaurants in Miami, and she was almost like our mother a little bit. We would come from a village, get to the Miami office, sit down. Okay, here's your ticket. You're going here next, and then you're going here. Here's some paperwork that somebody's asking for. She was our organizer.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, we mentioned a lot of names, but I don't want to leave anyone out. Is there anyone that you worked that you enjoyed working with, like that you'd like to mention?
Gosh, like I said in the beginning, my little notes that you told me to do. If I missed anyone,
yeah, you'll apologize now, right?
Because I really loved everybody. But I hope Lydia Leon and Anne Bendelano, they were in the offices as well. They did the boutiques. Nancy O'Connell, she worked in the office. She was doing the human resources for the bartenders. Gosh, too many people to try to remember. So I apologize if I did miss anybody because I really loved everybody.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But what's nice for me, to be honest with you, because I'm in Turks, I see a ton of XGOs that come through the village, and then they'll hear, hey, an XGO has a restaurant down the beach. So they show up and say, hey, oh gosh, I remember you, or I did this season and that season, and they told me to come in and say hi. So I'm very lucky that way.
Well, let's get into that if you don't mind. Do you mind talking about Hemingway's?
Sure.
So what are you doing? How do you figure you want to do that? How did this all come to be?
When I left Club Med, I just thought I hadn't, was a little bit tired, and I wasn't going to go anywhere. That my position, I didn't see me stepping anywhere. So when I left it, the manager at that time was Ricardo Gonzalez in in Mexico City. So I flew to him and told him, and he looked at me and he said, I'll give you 6 months off. If you want your job, give me a call and it's back. But when I got on that plane going back to Seattle, I said, okay, this chapter's done. I got to go look at something else. So I was trying to figure out what to do. I bought a condo in Seattle and lived there for about a year, and the rain instantly started bugging me again. And so I was thinking, where should I go? And I loved Mexico, but I was there in 94 when the peso crashed in half. And I took about 5 GOs from Hualtuco. We went into town and had dinner, and I put it on my credit card. And I felt so sorry for the owner of the restaurant because I said, I'm getting half off. Yeah, this is crazy. I'm glad I don't own this place. So I wanted to go somewhere where I thought it was a little more stable. And Turks, that beautiful beach, the hadn't been really found yet, and I thought it was about ready to explode. And it was U.S. dollar. So I thought, what the heck? Let's roll the dice. And there was a um, old GO that I worked with, John Tossi, that had a restaurant, and he was going to try to open up another one. So I flew down, checked it out. At first I said no, and then about 4 months later, I called him back up, and he said, let's do it. So I got down there, and unfortunately, the restaurant we were going to open, when I got there, there was too many other partners. I just didn't see it happening. So that's when I started to look around and see where I could find a place. And I met a gentleman named Stan Hartling that said he was going to build a resort and he didn't want to do the restaurant. So that's where it all started.
How did you come up with the name Hemingway's?
Well, it's interesting. My first real tropical destination was Key West. You have Sloppy Joe's where Ernest Hemingway's pictures on it.
Yep.
When I was a kid, I went skiing in Sun Valley, and Ernest Hemingway used to live there. That's actually where he killed himself. So I wanted it to be an American name because in Turks, there was not too many Americans. And I think it's because we have to pay taxes on worldwide income. But I wanted it to be an American name. That was kind of it. And I kept on thinking Hemingway's people, and book he wrote, Old Man in the Sea, was right next door in Cuba. Deep sea fishing, we'll use that as our fish of the day. People want to get drunk here and have fun. So I did that, and my partner's Canadian. He Googled it the next day, and he came back to me and said, hey, this Hemingway guy has kind of a dark side to him. And I said, nobody's going to think that part. They're going to just think of him as the guy drinking the daiquiri and making fishing popular and running with the bulls popular and those kind of things.
Yeah, sun also rises. That's right.
Correct.
And I guess, do you have to look up if that name's taken? Like, I mean,
well,
what year, sorry, did you start this, Terry? Around?
This is 88.
Okay.
Or, excuse me, 98.
98. Okay, so you might have had some of the internet already there, right? So
well, I went to our lawyer, and
okay,
for $1,500, I got the rights to the name Hemingway's on the Beach.
Okay, so you did hire a lawyer, and he did do all that checking for you. Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, because you don't want to name your restaurant and then get slapped with an injunction after. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Everybody that knows me, I'm by the book.
Yeah. Well, and you've been there ever since, right?
Been there ever since. It when we first opened it up, I remember, because there was nothing around us. And Turtle Cove is the area in Turks where restaurants were kind of making their bucks, and everybody said I was stupid. Then I went from stupid to hardworking to lucky, because we started to really put it into fourth gear and really do some good business, and it's been going great ever since.
About like how far a car drive are you from the Club Med in terms, like 5 minutes or less?
5 minutes.
Okay.
You can walk. It's a 30-minute walk on the beach, 30, 35.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So when you're facing the ocean to the left.
Okay. You guys have a specialty there? I guess you do a lot of conch and
we do
seafood?
Tons of conch. We serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So anything from eggs Benedict to steak and lobster.
Oh, steak and lobster. Good Lord, that sounds good right now. Oh, okay.
Got live music a few times a week. So luckily, I'm in a resort. We're the only restaurant in the resort, so we get the hotel guests. And then we're real popular on island. So we get a lot of tourists that come from other hotels. And then the locals really like our breakfast on the weekends.
What's the name of the resort?
The Sands.
The Sands. Okay. Oh, cool. So if anyone is going to Turks and Caicos Club Med, please, please, please stop in and say hi to Terry. Tell him you enjoyed his episode.
There you go. And I'm going to do another my general manager is Carolyn Robinson, ex-GO. My day manager, local manager, Tracy Smith, used to be the annex hostess at the restaurant at Club Med Turks. And my executive chef, Alex, he also one time years ago worked in the kitchen there.
Oh, wow.
So I got four of my staff used to work in Club Med.
Well, yeah, that's what I always say to, I say this to people in Montreal. I work for a university. I say, you see Club Med on a resume, you hire that person, because I don't think they really have an idea. Like if you've never gone or worked there, how hard a geo works. So, I mean, that's probably what you're thinking, right? Oh, they worked here. Okay. They
Oh,
went
it's
for Club Med
great.
for how long?
Yeah.
Okay.
And all three of them are just amazing.
All right. That's pretty cool, man. Now, if I asked you, I mean, I guess this question for you is a little because bizarre, because you could probably go if you're on, I don't know how often, like how many days a week or a month would you say you're at your place, like in Hemingway's, like,
I'm in, I'm there about 40% of the time,
okay,
45.
okay,
And
and you could
then
probably you could probably go into the Club Med if you wanted to, whenever you wanted, right? The Turks.
we've had a couple staff parties there.
Okay.
To be honest with you, when I'm there in Turks, I'm because I do a lot of the work in the office. So I'm super busy that way. And then, buddies want to go play golf, want to go out and drink a beer or this and that. So
Yeah.
it's just Club Med used to be the only happening spot. It's not like that anymore.
Well, this question probably applies to everyone but you, but I'm going to ask you anyway, because if I ask you what are the three things you miss the most about Club Med, this might be difficult because, in a way, I don't know. I mean, yes, you left it, but did you? Like, is there
I didn't
something?
leave it.
Yeah, could there be something you miss because you seem to have it all figured out from where I'm standing, right?
To be honest with you, my life is exactly the same way as when I was in Club Med.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
I.
hustling here, hustling there, getting on a plane, go see my family. Our daughter had some bone issues. We found out we needed to get off island. So that's why we built a house in Florida and moved everybody up here. It's not my choice that I like to bop around like that, but you got to do what you got to do to make it work.
That's right. I should ask you this question a bit back because I'm curious. I still can't get out of my mind that you showed up to St. Lucia your first season with $3,000. So, and when you went to Watuco, like, or any subsequent season, were you still showing up with that much cash? Or
No, I learned.
okay,
Yeah.
because normally I would leave a village with 2,000 in my right boot and 1,000 in my left, but you're the first guy I've met that showed up with that much money. And like I said, I've known many geos that went to the gestion office into their season. Okay, thank you very much. You owe us $800 because they spent everything, right? And wound up owing money. So that's okay. That's pretty cool. You're definitely the only one that showed up with money to their first season. I've seen geos show up that had to take a cab from the airport. They didn't have a dime on them, and they're running around looking for someone to lend them money.
Oh yeah. I remember one guy, I'm not going to say his name, arrived in Eleuthera and his clothes were in a garbage bag.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's called that the redneck luggage. Is that what they call that? I don't know. Okay. Oh no, that's an igloo with duct tape. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm forgetting my Jeff Foxworthy. All right. Wow. All right. This is pretty cool, man. Now, is there anything, Terry, in case a part of the show where ask if I forgot to ask you something or something you'd like to say, please take a moment.
I just say, you know what, Anthony Parisi, I can't thank him enough. His wife's birthday was a couple days ago. He's in Arizona. They're just great people. Big Lee, all my friends I'm so lucky because I get to see a bunch of them because they want to come. I have a nice house in Turks and, people ask me to stay there all the time. So I feel like I'm still connected in Club Med. I still have the great life that I did when I was in Club Med. So I'm super, super lucky, super happy.
So when people ask you to stay at your place, that kind of makes you the chief of village, right? Do you feel like that? Okay.
No, I'm just happy to see people. And, I worked real hard for a long time and I bought this land a long time ago for nothing.
I was going to ask,
just at the right place at the right time.
I was going to ask you that if I may, because a former geo and a former guest on this show has a very interesting story. I don't know if you know Cheese Jensen. He was in Turks in 89, and he had the opportunity to buy a beachfront or away from the beach, and he was counseled against buying the beachfront. That land today sold for 1.6 million or something like that. So
Yep, okay, I know his land, and actually I looked at it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I know exactly where he is. I
mean, he still did
the
good
one on the ocean.
Okay, yeah, he still did good on the PC bot, but the one that he was because I think he was told, well, I don't know if I'd own land in a country I don't live in, and da 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 da, which could have been good advice at the time. I don't know, but it's funny
No, because
how.
it's British law, so
Okay.
actually that wasn't good advice.
Oh, okay. It was not okay.
No, but he
Okay.
still did great.
He still did good. Yeah, don't worry,
Yes.
guys. He still did
Yeah,
good. Shout out Cheese. Okay.
there you go.
One other question, because I noticed being a geo bar and chief of bar, did you manage to avoid doing a show your whole time in Club Med? Could this be true?
Oh no, no, I
Oh,
did them my first couple years,
oh, really? Okay.
um, and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't. When they kind of talked, is do you think Chef de Village is in your future? And I'm like, I'm just, I don't want the microphone. I don't want that. So I did them, and I did the best I could, but it's not like I stood in line to try to do it.
Okay, that's right. Okay. So yeah, you basically had to volunteer, right? Like I guess you were doing a lot of
Correct.
comedy numbers too.
Not too much comedy. We did, the lip syncs and just the shows, easy stuff.
Okay.
I did a circus. Take that back with Stefan and Lisa and those seasons. I did circus, helped them out a little bit, and then I did that in Eleuthera a little bit, not too much.
Now were you, I mean, you were doing you were
The
flying on.
circus show, so dressing up like a clown or doing the bike act, things like that.
Oh, okay.
I can juggle.
Where'd you learn how to juggle?
My brother taught me when I was a kid.
Okay. And were you doing a flair behind the bar before Club Med? Could you do that too?
Do what? I'm sorry.
Like flair, like Tom Cruise and Cocktail, the flair.
Oh,
Those
I
I think
thought it
that's
was
what they
Tom
call.
Cruise.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
We covered a lot here, but I don't want to let you go because you've been so kind with your time. Unless there's something else you wanted to say, or did we get it all?
I just hope everybody appreciates all the hard work that you do.
Oh
This
no,
isn't a 2-minute deal. You're super diligent. You're extremely organized. And I can't thank you enough because everybody out there enjoys what you're doing.
well, they did say I was the Terry Drummey of the sports team, but now I understand why.
And I'm going to offer you this just so you know, my house is available for you when you Turks whenever you want.
Sweet. I always wanted to go back there because my first season was there in '94, and I told myself I'm going back there one day. But now, now I have a place to visit, Hemingway's. So
There we
again,
go.
any of those, GMs out there haven't gone yet, don't just stay all the time in Club Med. Get out, explore, go to Hemingway's, grab some breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Great.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was the one, the only Terry Drummey. You've heard his name come up a lot. He's here. He graced us with his presence. So I really want to thank you again, Terry, for taking the time with us.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And we'll see you all next week, people, with another new installment of My First Season. Say bye, Terry.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.